Hello, I'm Chris. This is Reality Shadow Band. Tech Sports said they're coming out. They're going to close that portal soon. I don't know if I believe them, but here we go. Today I'm reacting to a fun video from John Griffin again. He's fresh out of a divorce. I've been divorced twice, so I have something to say about all this stuff. I have some insights. But mine were a long time ago. His seemed to be just recently, maybe a couple of years ago. So he's still feeling the sting. Let's go to it.
The Femme Fatale is an archetype that goes back to probably the beginning of humanity, but certainly back into the Greek mythology. There's even a lot of it in the Bible. There's a lot of mythology around the Bible. I think Adam was supposed to have a first wife. I think her name was Lilith or something like that. And she was sort of like your first feminist, and of course that didn't work out too well for her. But all through history, the Femme Fatale was an archetype that was based on a woman's sexuality and mysterious power, the dark side of femininity, if you will. But it also has a lighter side, and there are a lot of aspects of the Femme Fatale that have been I would say, the seeds of modern feminism. And I know that,
I mean, there is this archetype that's, I don't know if it's modern feminism. Maybe it's just our built-in survival mechanisms, just how we're built as humans. But this archetype is subconscious. Comes out as maybe just natural instinct of how we operate as humans on the planet, and it has nothing to do with this social programming thing. There's definitely this liberal bent coming through that says that everyone's just a blank slate and can be programmed by the culture. It's like, I don't know about all that stuff. I think there's definitely this interplay between the culture and the biology and what things make it work out and what things don't work out.
guys on this channel certainly look at modern feminism as being a big part of the reason why there's so much difficulty in relationships. But the truth of
I think it might be just female nature is becoming we're now fully aware of. It's fully exposed. There's no limits put on it. It's not given any shame. It's not told to tamper down. So it's like the worst aspects are now becoming visible. They used to be like a little bit tampered down, especially because we had this thing called a community that had a lot of social connections that are really important for women. Like, men are these very vertically integrated people. Like, this guy is very vertically integrated, but he's like, we see things as like, we just have to keep our home an hour. It's like women are more horizontally integrated. They need to have lots and lots and lots of connections. At least Dunbar's number, a minimum of 150. Like, they gotta feel like they have that. Most women don't have like 5. Maybe 3. I mean, they're going to have like 100 or 150 so they feel like they're actually embedded and solid in this whole thing. And, they were told in the 70s that they could do it on the weekends. You just go get a job, do the kind of thing a half-assed man would do, like if a half-assed job, but you can do it the best that they can do, and don't tell them you can't, even though you kind of can't. And they tell them to do this, and they tell them that, no, you're giving up something that was bad to begin with, which is this motherhood, family, homemaker, which isn't just in the home, it's like all these other homes too. I make it seem like it's this atomized little thing. It was like, no, man, you were on vacation the whole time. You could do whatever the hell you wanted as long as you kept a couple things running. Especially, it was like you could do whatever you want. And they were like, nope, you got to go to work and go work for a boss. You have to be there at a certain time, and we don't care. You have to make sure you call in sick and make sure we know you bring a note from your doctor.
the matter is, feminism was a reaction to patriarchy gone out of control.
I mean, was it out of control? Really? I mean, it may have been some abuses somewhere, but look back, like, women seem to have the privileged position, at least in the West. They were very well protected and kind of knew that they had it pretty good, man. Like, a lot of women had it pretty darn good. Like, they were shielded from all the working in the mines. There's this myth like it was so bad in the past. Like, no, they had other stuff. Certain things sucked, but other things were fucking awesome.
And
like having a culture.
The pendulum swings both ways. And I think historically, if you go back to the 18th and 19th centuries, and you see that women were at that time created like property of men.
Well, they were protected as well, sir. The kind of was like all together. The man was expected to take responsibility for all this stuff and deal with it, like protect people, and that you kind of have to be in charge to make that happen. So you can't have responsibility without agencies. That's one of the things that feminism took away is like men's agency. It's like, well, if you don't want to protection, I guess you can try to do it on your own. The shit sucks out here. What? We don't like it.
And they had no individual rights at all. Any crime against a woman.
Well, that's not quite true. They're very well protected. And still, that's echoed in the current legal system how it all works. It's still they got like 30% less time, and it's like way less investigation. It's like men get double it, and it's like okay, it's not really. It's still left over.
Woman was actually a property crime against her husband or her father or her brothers. It was not a crime against a woman. So what we're seeing.
I mean, but whose responsibility was a woman supposed to go take care of it back then? Come on now, they needed protection from men because we're fucking dicks, man. We will go for the throat, and if you're not gonna go play with all the fucking shit that we gotta go through as men who are dealing with this crazy society, then it's not really fair.
Being now manifest in modern feminism and this anti-male sentiment that comes with it is the.
I mean, that's been programmed in. They used to be like appreciative. It's like, yeah, we'll take the fucking brunt. Just give us a little credit. We will gladly take the brunt. We kind of are into it. But I don't think it's good for you doing all this crazy shit. You really want to go work in a mine?
Sort of the pendulum swinging back the other direction. And for whatever reason, feminists have taken on this femme fatale as kind of the archetype that they follow. And it is
sure. It's very sexual, and very like they're fully using their main weapon, which is their sexuality, desirability of men, for their bodies and for their for their feminine nature. Yeah, we're super like beholden to that, and they're using that as their main weapon, and using it for their own selfish purposes, and not really using it for like creating a family or creating a culture, or creating a community. They're doing it just to get theirs, get that bag, girl.
I guess it's positives, but it has an awful lot of negatives. And I don't think that women realize as they delve into this archetype and take it on as a personality.
Well, why would they? It's been promoted, and they're not showing the other side. Who's going to be doing this? Who's going to sell that? All this stuff is sales driven. All this stuff is sales driven.
Or even as a
marketing, advertising,
a symbol
pushed,
for a movement.
Promoted.
Just how negative it can be, not only to men and to the world, but to them themselves.
Right, but what if you take away their community and take away all the stuff that used to be their touch base, that used to give like structure and meaning to their lives? You take all that stuff away, well, then it's just materials one-on-one. One-on-one combat, blood sports. It's all blood sport combat with women and men in the field. They're supposed to like be equal, but we got to give them kid gloves, but they can take your job and get you fired. What? This is all very bad.
So let's talk
all
about
very
that.
bad ideas. And it's like whatever the thing is they think they can do, just think about the worst possible outcome that could be, and that'll probably be what the end result will be of these policies and procedures that were put in place like a Chesterfield's fence for a very specific purpose to protect people who are not supposed to be doing this. Like, you're not supposed to be fighting against men. It's not a women's place to fight against men. It's to support the men. They fight each other, and you get protected and taken care of and out of the fucking fray of the bloody combat we have with each other. Holy shit, man. This shit gets ugly. Like, we haven't seen the ugly yet. We haven't seen, the generation has not seen the ugly of what men do to each other when they're pushed to the limit.
So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the historical nature of the femme fatale was sort of picked up, with characters like Medusa from Greek mythology. She was the woman who would turn men to stone.
Okay.
And then like Pandora's box, which was really Pandora's jar, but so be it. Okay. It was basically...
those are female archetype natures, but they're really symbols of chaos. That's really what those represent: chaos and destruction, and engulfed in material-based nature. They were like warning stories. They're like, hey, look out for this. If you just base all your stuff off these animal desires, there's going to be bad outcomes. That was kind of the idea. So not necessarily female, but the mother female, like Greek mythology, that's chaos. The female It's noisy. I mean, men have their own style of chaos. When we start fighting each other, it's all chaotic. We don't know who's gonna win at the end. We don't, it's all gamble at that point. So yeah, we have our own type of chaos, which they don't really see it that way. They see it as an ordered thing. I guess it's more of a tendency. I guess, but we had to have a culture. You have to be emotional. It has to be emotional to have a culture. It's this pure logic, computer programmer world set mindset is not of a fucking culture. It's some kind of economic zone. To have a culture, it has to be soft and like female. It has to be feminine. It has to be sweet and demure. Like I don't know what the words are for it, but like without that, it's nothing worth fighting for. It's like not worth dying for, not worth fighting for, not worth working for, unless we have that. So that's the thing that was been given up. That doesn't have a price tag. You can't put a spreadsheet on it because it's cookie sales and bringing cookies to your neighbor and like sending little cards and things, having little get-togethers. That stuff, man. If you don't have somebody planning that out and putting it together and talking about it and talking about the thing they did before and what they want to do again and when the next one's going to be and who's going to host it, like without that stuff happening, without time for that to happen, the culture goes away. And then what are we doing? Just an economic zone, I guess.
Unleashing all hell on earth and sucking away all the hope in the world, that kind of thing. I mean, really not one of your brighter, more cheery characters in history. Yeah. Modern media has picked up on the femme fatale and turned it into this sort of powerful female symbol of strength and sexuality and independence.
I mean, if your community's gone, yeah, you better gird up. You better start slicing. You better get your sword out. You better get your shield up. And you better start working out in the gym because you're about to get attacked by some males. So that's the full thing. And then you better use all your wiles. And sexually one is one that we're get devastated by. And you can control men with that. You better believe it. And most men are controlled by it. They're just like, oh my God, I gotta have it. And they like, okay, if that's all there's left, there's no community left. Well, yeah, then you're going to get it both barrels opened up. Survival instinct. This is all survival stuff. Look, the females that didn't do this in the past, they were eliminated from the group. Or they tried to rise up against it or deny this thing when their community is fallen away. If they don't go to this survival mode, they don't survive. Okay? So this is survival mode instincts being triggered and being initiated and being managed and modified and delivered in a certain pipeline, so people will take it think this is an alternative that's actually worth a while to pursuing.
And strong motive and manipulation, and she's seen oftentimes kind of as a hero, not necessarily as a villain.
Yes, because this things collapsed around her because she would be thinking and contemplating this type of lifestyle, this viewpoint of this world point, means that other things are not available that are better. If they had something else better, they would be going and doing that, but they don't because it's collapsed because of this whole globalist, freaking fiat currency, fucking bullshit, crazy, stupid, hyper materialistic society where it's completely atomized. Everyone's got to take a side. And you got to battle your neighbor. It's like, oh, but who's making us take a side? Who's telling us to battle our neighbor? No, don't want to mention that. Can't mention it.
She was canceled. A villain. There was nothing good about her at all. In fact, if you came across a femme fatale as a man, yeah, your days were numbered.
Right, for certain men of certain predilections, yeah, they would be caught up in that because their communities also failed. So all they got left is this. So terrible. It's so awful and vicious and cruel and anti-human.
So,
but
because modern media has sort of picked up on this archetype and portrayed it in movies and in television shows and in other kinds of media as sort of a hero or a heroine of some type, women have sort of been drawn to this image of this strong, powerful, feminine power. But you can't just take little bits.
The sex. They're drawn to the sex. It's not this feminine power bullshit. They want to get into the punani. They want the punani. Show babs and vagina.
And pieces of this without sort of getting the whole thing. Because the sexual promiscuity that comes with the femme fatale is specifically as a manipulation.
Yes. It's like it's one of the best things they got, so why wouldn't they use it? Look, man, they're small and weak and tiny and confused. You better believe they're going to use that weapon when the community is gone. They have nothing else. It's just one-on-one combat out here.
And
Come
I don't
on.
think that a lot of these manipulative women realize when they're
Not.
going down this path.
Why would they? What's the alternative? Do they have an alternative? Has it even been mentioned? Hey, yeah, by the way, your community and your culture just got destroyed with globalism. This whole atomized, living in apartments, don't know your neighbor, look at them twice, oh, wave at them, maybe bring them a tray of cookies, but you're not getting together and doing anything together. Fuck them because they're weird. They're weird because they're not like you completely.
That they have the intention of manipulating men the way they do with their sexuality, but once they start down this path, it becomes a next natural step. It's something that just sort of...
Yeah, because it fucking works. Hey, man, if dudes could do it with their sex, if they didn't could do it, they would be doing it all over the damn place. So don't take it out of the women. They don't have a lot of tools left. This culture is completely fucked up, people. So they have no tools. They have to do this one-on-one combat. And if you don't do it, you'll get taken advantage of. Like, this is what do we expect to have happen? Given all the current set of circumstances, all the trade-offs, oh no, we can just do the culture on the weekend. Just send the mom to work for a boss for 8 hours. She'll come home. She'll do the same cooking and same cleaning, same raising children and making sure they're there and taking care of that the public school will do or the daycare will do. Really? You really think that? Is that okay? I guess most people maybe because they're so fucking NPC'd out already that is acceptable. Come on, but that's not how you raise children. That's not how you raise children. That's how you raise economic units. In some sort of economic unit factory that we have to get GDP go up. Otherwise, what? Otherwise, what? It's weird, man.
They end up doing by default.
Culture's
and this
fucked.
manipulation, in most cases, doesn't end in just the man's demise, financially or emotionally or psychologically, but it also ends in her demise as well, in the same kinds of ways.
Yes.
It's not something that just...
But what's the alternative? You make it seem like there's this alternative out here that's like you're going to choose over this. There's no fucking alternative. This is it, man. This is all they got.
Affects men independently. It affects everyone, men, women, and children
yes,
as well.
Yes, the whole culture. It affects all the culture. Yes. Destroying the culture affects the culture. Yes. Wow, amazing. It's like...
One of the interesting things about Lilith,
Don't get me wrong, I like this guy. But he's a little bit like, oh, it's got to be it's all this it's so social. It's like, no, man. Look, they've monetized the destruction of the culture by shipping the factories and all those jobs out overseas and overshores, and when we just let all the free goods come in and kill off the mom and pop shops. All that stuff was culture, man. That wasn't just, oh, it's just we need better products at a cheaper price. Like, well, sort of. That's part of it, yeah. But there's this other thing too. Like, without producing stuff here, you're not really a nation producing things. You're just, oh, we're just gonna print money. Is that what? Okay, we're just give money out to people and everybody gets a bullshit job that has no meaning, and you just have to work 8 hours though at it. Otherwise, you have to work 2 hours commute per day. Oh, we got a great culture here. Great culture.
This is not actually in the Bible, but it was like a Jewish story that followed, like in the 800, AD or something along those lines, or maybe 800 BC, before the Common Era. The story goes basically that God punished Lilith by killing like 100 of her children every day or something along those lines. It was a terrible, terrible punishment that God had rained down on Lilith. And the reason why is because Lilith refused to yield to Adam in any way, to refuse to yield the leadership role or to be subservient to him in any way at all. And so God was really pissed off about that. And that's...
Well, it's not that God was pissed off about it. It's a story to convey a message that there is some kind of order in this fucking world. I didn't set it up this way. It seems to be just the way things kind of naturally work out the best, that the man has to be out there taking the brunt of the fucking most of the harshness, and the woman is supposed to be the soft one taking care of the babies and raising families and creating a culture where people care about each other and know each other and are intimately related to each other. And while we do hard shit, while men do hard fucking crap that is dirty ass work, and all we want to hear is that's cool, thank you. And we will do the dirtiest fucking jobs, hot on a roof, sweating our balls up underneath the fucking rafters, bug bitten, digging holes. But man, we don't want to see women do that. We just don't want to see it. It's like, so what is that? Where does that come from? Seems to be like a natural just order thing. So if you buck the guy that wants to take care of you and protect you, and it's kind of like all about it, except for a small number of fucking psychopaths who need to be stopped. By the way, need to be punished for being. But the rest of us, they're like, no, we just like how they smell, and look, and we just kind of want to do the best, and we kind of want to look out for after them. We don't really want them to do bad. We like babies. We like to see the babies. We like to see mothers taking care of children. We just like to see it. I don't know fucking why that is, but if somebody tries to hurt them, we have a strong urge to fuck them up. It doesn't even. It's cross cultural. I don't understand it, but it's how it is.
That's why the next time he made a woman, he made this woman from Adam's own body rather than from the same ground that Adam was made from. And so that's kind of the mythology.
So it's like we're more closely related with each other. Okay, it's just like a mythology story. Okay, trying to convey a message that we're kind of made with each other, for each other. We can't get separated out from each other. We are part of each other. That's kind of like some of the ideas that roll around in there.
Around.
Not just this, oh, he's made from the rib. It's like symbolic. Think of the symbolism.
Femme Fatale. Modern symbols of the Femme Fatale, obviously, that movie with Michael Douglas, and Sharon Stone where, what was it? I can't remember. It was funny. It was a terrible movie, but it was interesting. Definitely a Femme Fatale in that one. Even, like Catwoman can be kind of the Femme Fatale, from the DC Comics.
Yes, we have many
in modern, media. They just show up all the time. Anytime a woman is put in a position where she's going to be the killer, like Black Widow from the Avengers series, another Femme Fatale, although she's sort of a good guy, but definitely got that dark energy going for her. So this Femme Fatale energy that women seem to be drawn to as an icon for femininity or feminism has all these dark concepts associated with it. It also has these concepts of independence and lightness and being strong-willed and having a level of autonomy. And
right, they have to. If the cultures collapse and they start acting like this, it means your culture's in trouble. If you got a lot of these people running around, because this Femme Fatale thing and this glitter thing was a minor character up until recently, people were like, wait, what's this Bible talking about? All the behavior, the exact behavior we're seeing of these women in desperate situations, just trying to make sense of this goddamn place. Because the thing that you can't see collapsed. It faded out and was gone and no longer available. So yeah, so it's like so one of this part of these stories is like, hey, you start seeing like this stuff happening in your culture and around you and the people you know and see, you might be going down a wrong path, and you might want to go look into what's going on, what you've given up, what you've let go of. But that's of course this isn't happening. I'm deduced this through my own brain cells, how this is things put together, and what's because I've been around long enough and I remember what it was like. I was a little kid. I remember what it was like. I remember the things that people would do and how they would set things up. And I moved around too, so I moved to different places, and they were the same stuff all over the place. And then all of a sudden, around 1995, it ended, and these people just stopped doing it. It was no longer a thing. It was started ending in the late 80s. But by 95, it was done. You were not talking to your neighbors. You're this community thing. It's hey, we're getting together to do some burgers. But like that's all.
So there's a lot of powerful symbols associated with this character, this archetype, that has drawn these women in, thinking that there's all these positive attributes that they would like to be associated with. But unfortunately, the negatives,
because they don't got nothing left, man. They would easily trade it in for the other stuff I'm talking about. This community, this real live community with real life connections where they have lots of time to spend with them all day, gossiping, making cookies and building, taking care of the kids. And I got to do the thing over here, just take care of my thing today. And then, okay, we're going to play together, blah, blah. And did you hear what Sally did? And I got the best kid because I just gave him whatever. All that shit, gone.
Kind of follows a lot.
Oh, it's better to go work for your 401k. Make sure you pay off your mortgage.
With a positive in a lot of cases. It's not often that you come across someone who has this strong sense of feminism, this independence, and who is using her sexual energy as a way to get the things that she wants in the world, without also finding a lot of the manipulation and the.
This is news. It's like, yeah, this is what else do they got, man?
Dishonesty and the. I guess using her feminine power to get what she wants, regardless of how it affects others around her.
Yeah, that's what happens when the culture just gets destroyed. When there's no longer a real community in action, not this fucking community center bullshit. Real community that was organic, that nobody told it, nobody called it that. It was just people getting together. I'm going to get together, Jim down the street, Sally over there, blah, we're going to get all the kids together. That's what it was. We didn't call it community. We just called it getting together with other people around here. That all got destroyed. It's all gone. It's all virtualized, special interest groups, political campaigning, monetized bullshit, hustle culture. None of this stuff, because people are getting squeezed out to the last limit for this Ponzi scheme, and they're pushing everywhere that they can with their spreadsheet, figure out where they can milk off people, the value of people, and they monetize it all. And this is what's happened. And it's like, whoa, they're using their sexual values to get. Well, what do you expect, man? This culture is completely off the rails and about to reset. And yeah, this is the kind of shit that happens. Did you look at Weimar Republic? Never heard of it? You ever look into the Weimar Republic? Oh, I wonder if they're doing the same things now, except on a much wider scale than they were doing in Weimar for a brief moment, in a brief moment of time before we got some painters, some Austrian painters involved. This is so fucked up.
That's kind of how the Femme Fatale operates. And that also is very similar to the way feminism operates in our culture today. Now, like I said at the beginning, feminism is kind of a reaction to this extreme patriarchy where women were literally chattel. They were literally property.
No. Someone had to be in charge, and the person, the head of household, was in charge. Yeah. So they weren't actually 100% chattel, whatever you're talking about. But they were under the protection and the tutelage of men. They knew they had a whole huge range of things they could do. But when it came to like interacting with the men's world, it's because you're starting to say, I don't want to be protected. And men were like, I don't know, we're kind of dicks. I don't know if you really want to get into all that stuff. Won't you be better off like goofing off with your girlfriends all day and having fun and raising babies and teaching them how to read and write and all that stuff? No, that wasn't more interesting. Come on.
And
so it's better to go work in an office from 8 to 5 and shuffle paperwork on my spreadsheet. That's more better.
I'm a believer that you can't hold people down like that. You can't hold anyone down without giving them some level of autonomy. They will revolt against that.
They had massive amounts of autonomy. Now this kind of storyline, I object with tremendously. They had tremendous amount of autonomy. There was just certain things that were like, please don't go do that. You're not gonna like it. It's gonna suck because we were in there. It sucks. Okay, we're doing the sucky thing that you should not be wanting to do. Like this stuff blows. Okay, the other stuff, being out in the community and planning parties and festivals and holidays and get-togethers and making the home like nice and chill. You being chilled out by talking to your girlfriends and doing all that stuff, just chilling the fuck out. That's awesome. Like that's culture, man.
And feminism, and especially the most recent version of feminism, is that revolt. Now, I think it started off as basically just a movement toward independence and equality and all that stuff, but now it's gotten to this point where it's become quite toxic in many of its representations in the media or by movie stars and celebrities, etc. Yeah. So the reason I bring this up is that as men, in culture, in the society as a whole, it's our job and our responsibility to lead.
Correct.
And it's critically important that we lead our culture and society away from these kinds of behaviors. Women right now are suffering general anxiety at rates that have never been seen before.
Yeah, because they lost their fucking community. They lost all the culture, the thing that we grew up with, sir. The thing that we grew up and kind of like think is still kind of around. It's not around. It's gone. It's blasted. It was decimated, flattened, and it's been deracinated and what's it called? Intermediated with this online shit. No wonder. Yeah, how could you not be depressed and anxious? Holy fuck nuts. The people who aren't, I'm like, wondering how you're not. It's like, oh yeah, they're medicated. Oh, okay. The tranquilizers, the Xanax, the Lexapro, the Wellbutrin. Why do you think how so many women are on that shit? It's because it's that thing that's missing. They can't see that. It's like, this shit's fucked up, man. You're telling me I have to do this shit on my own? Guys like, yeah, we can probably figure it out because we're vertically integrated. We're willing to, that's kind of, we're set up for it. But women aren't, they're horizontally. They need to go wide and have all kinds of connections with people. That like, what are you talking to that lady for? It's like, she's my friend.
And it's 2 and 3 times the rates that men have anxiety. And a big part of that is
Yeah.
because they have stepped outside of their natural way of.
They didn't step, they were pushed. Boop. Somebody said they were lied to and convinced that this other way of doing stuff where they could just let the culture go, do it on the weekends. Yeah, they were convinced. They got famous. They got scammed. And America's got lots of scams running because they run in Ponzi schemes in '71. So because they got a Ponzi schemes in '71, a pure Ponzi scheme, yeah, it's gonna be coming out in all kinds of weird ways, and this is just one of them.
Existing in the world in partnership with the man with a particular feminine role. We're nurturing and child rearing and
Yeah,
nesting
super
and
good at it.
homemaking
They're super duper good at it.
and all those things were part of
Yeah, nesting, homemaking, they're fucking awesome at that shit. When I remember growing up and just being around women that were had this thing going on, this extreme femininity is just like so intoxicating, and all you want to do is like help them out or just be like super friendly. I don't know what the fuck is like a warm feeling of like, and also wanting to protect. It's like holy shit, man. And that was as a kid, I was getting those feelings. Like, what the hell is this? Like, that's how it works, man. And if you break that, if you break it, you broke something that cannot be put on a spreadsheet and is extremely difficult to get back once it's gone.
their lives. They had a mission, just like we need a mission. They have their own mission. It's separate from ours. It's different, but it's critically important that it be filled.
Yes.
And when they're not filling their mission, they get very out of sorts as well.
Absolutely.
So when they're not in that strong feminine role of being a mother and being a nurturer and a homemaker and helping to build a family, I think not all women, but a lot of women really, really, really get out of sorts with it.
At least.
I think the femme
would love to just be doing that. And they're like, no, you're a slave to your man. It's like, what? So going into an office and doing stuff some other dude wants to do that you're not even married to, that doesn't even care about you. That says, oh, there's our family here, but it'll weigh you off the minute the interest rate goes up 0.5%. It's like, it's getting over the scamminess of America is difficult. Like, he's still in it. I'm still in it. I still think that there is an America. Like, no, that's not even a thing. It doesn't exist. It hasn't existed for a long, long time. It's been they run on the old brand. They're trying to use the old the legacy brand of America. They still think that shit exists. Like, no, it doesn't exist. It's gone. It's been gone for a while.
Fatale archetype is probably appropriate, that strong feminist, for a percentage of the female population. But I think that a large part of the female population really is drawn to that more natural, traditional way of existing in life where you're in partnership with a man, and that partnership involves very specific gender roles, and those gender roles have been created over thousands and thousands of years. Take away
long time, many generations, way before we had written history, where we're doing it like that. Way before, because of the matriarchal, like, oh no, those things get taken over. Come on, man. We are so much stronger and fiercer and more aggressive, and we are willing to do all kinds of crazy, fucked up shit, man. And we'll do it in defense of our country, our nation, our homeland, whatever. And that's how many thousands of generations. That shit is built into us. You cannot just erase that or say, no, you're a bad person for thinking this way. It's like, no, we're not. No, this is what we are. We're humans. we will fight for this kind of shit once we figure out what the hell's going on. But I don't know. It seems like the MK Ultra they got, this advanced shit, is so good that we can just convince people that we are tabula rasa and think we can paper over it with all these Wellbutrin and Xanax and alcohol and weed.
The power imbalances that occurred with extreme patriarchy and all that shit, and strip it down to just the very basics in a modern life of how men and women can coexist in the same home with the same goals as partners, with a level of understanding of what this relationship is. It's not a.
It wasn't that long ago. It was only 30 years, 25 years ago, when everyone took this as a default, as the normal standard way of doing things. The 80s, the 70s, no fault divorce, and then the 80s divorces, they really fucked a lot of shit up. But in the 70s, because I grew up in the 70s, I know, it's I remember what it was like. And before this wave came through, women took pride in their family. It was a badge of honor. If when you have kids that look right and acted right and were happy and like healthy and doing good, that would look reflected on the wife and the mother more than anything else. The dad could be doing 1,000 things, but still would be going right to the woman. It's like, who's really running this family? Who's got the thing full? Who's putting this together well? And it was a source of pride and honor, and everyone appreciated it. Even the guy that was doing the harder part, like the man that was like out there digging ditches and out there in the snow and the rain and the sleet and risking fingers getting lopped off. No credit to him. Fuck that guy, right? But mom was like, oh. If their kids are fucking up, look bad on the mom, not the dad. Come on. And even though he was intended to be, he was in charge of everything. It's like, no. The mom was running the show. And if she was into it, the family was humming along. And if she wasn't, it was bad. So that's where the happy wife, happy life thing came from. It's like, but it got twisted around. It's all distorted now. It's all twisted around. It's like, yeah, because that culture requires women to be at home for a long periods of time with other women that are also at home. And they weren't going anywhere else. They weren't interested in going anywhere else. They were cool being at home and in the neighborhood and talking to all the ladies and all stuff. That was cool. It was cool. It was fucking cool. But no one remembers because it was like so long ago. It's like, seems like a dream.
A roller coaster love affair. A marriage and a relationship that endures has to be one that is boring sometimes, you know? And it kind of gets boring, you know? I mean, raising children and keeping a house and having a job and just living your life.
It's super fun, man. But if you have to do all that shit and get two people working 18-hour days, no, that's definitely not fun. But when it's just you and your mom and your brother and your sister at home, goofing off, learning to play with stuff, goofing off, that's the funnest shit ever. Come on now. And if it just takes one guy working out this, he actually kind of likes getting out of the house and doing his thing at work. And he feels dirty and smelly and fucking painful, whatever. He feels like he's supporting his kids and his family and stuff, and it's doing. He knows his wife is at home, making sure they're taken care of. Come on, man. All right, I'm gonna quit it here, and yeah, let you watch the rest of it. It's probably 20 minutes or 10 minutes left. All right.